Oh, I did
Springville.
yeah, I did.
We were up at Shoot Pond with my
It
kids
was my very first.
in an
that I
Airbnb,
did.
rent the pontoon boat, have beers.
I thought it was gonna
wait,
be
the sandbar and stuff. It was
10
great.
miles.
Came back,
It was
made
22.
dinner and stuff like that.
And it was
my
awesome.
son
You know, and then I
said,
remember
"Use
this
every
one
key
corner.
for
when
it." It was only like this.
It was wall of wood. It was like
And
hit
I
brick
walked
wall. The
across
wind
and he
just
said, "Well,
stopped me dead in my
You
tracks.
should really be able to jog across that.
It was awful.
And I did it. My feet went out.
But
Both
I was
went
glad I didn't do the swim in the
all the
run
way
too.
around the whole thing. I
I
can't just sprain one ankle, I just sprain two.
You gotta remember, you're not 20.
Joshua is coming
There's
in
good
on a
door.
white horse.
Pretty quick.
Do you know who that lady is?
It could be, he was talking about a woman that was
Oh,
coming in.
yeah, this will be cool. I want some
I will-
public
I will
opinion
ask.
today.
Okay.
It's good to see the young.
Kick me if I don't ask.
I can go ask her right now. And do you know this lady coming in?
I only got 59.
Oh, well, okay then. Oh, that's Josh right there.
Hey, Rich.
Yeah, if you want to go and ask her, go ahead. I'll wait. We're a minute late, we're a minute late.
What did you decide?
Dan's not here either, so.
Can I come?
Every trustee, actually, every public.
Yeah, understood, understood. I just coming in late and leaving her. Like Roger does.
I like.
Oh, so you got roll call votes.
It's the new reporter. Her name's Linda.
Oh, okay. Have this, I'll do it off the sheet.
Yeah, I just wanted you to see. Dan, there he is. I see him. We should be putting that.
Hey, Josh.
But I'll figure that out with Rick. I'll figure that out.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
one
indivisible,
under
with
God,
liberty and justice
indivisible,
for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next is the consent agenda. Those board minutes for the 7th and open session minutes for July 14th. The bills and a temporary license for Fredonia Fire and EMS. There is an additional bill for Innovation Drive, 35,960.44, which will be coming out of TIF funds, I believe. Yes.
Motion to approve consent agenda with additional bills. Second.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. Any questions? The roll call vote, we'll start with Bruce.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
was that an aye?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm having some problems with audio, so just if it's a little funky, that's why.
Motion carried. Open sessions for citizens' questions and comments. Okay, hearing none. Report on operations by village president. I have nothing additional to add. A report from village marshal.
Looking over what you have, just, again, for the heads up, so, small months, a lot of guys on vacation, not special events, eat up our ability to work here. So month, hour wise.
Hopefully, we're not that busy.
Well, most of our guys are on special units, like this are team, and they support all kinds of special events. So it needs something. It's on their off time.
Yeah, we have a well-qualified department for a small town.
Yes, sir.
I wondering, we're having a car show up there at St. John's, but this is nothing to do, I just a question. If we had police presence there, what would it cost the church to have them up there for parking and stuff? We don't know how big we're gonna be possibly on a radio this year, so. If there's 100 cars or 50 cars, that's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I've never figured out costs of police services with the going. I have for both. We build basically, but we have to support something there, and that's $60 an hour
Okay,
for a minimum of 2 hours. That we do it that way because our guys get called in there, they get minimum of 2 hours pay. That's most of the agencies in Ozaukee County do bill. That $60 an hour is somewhere right above the bill.
okay,
If you're,
yeah, we'll be talking.
okay,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Are those billable fees supported by a resolution or ordinance? Okay, so we don't have to produce an ordinance to be able to charge that fee.
I wouldn't think so.
Okay,
But I wouldn't think that should be, to be honest, it's the first time that
now,
it's ever come up. We might, I mean, we worked for the early celebration, we didn't build them for that.
mhm.
We just were here, so maybe we do the same thing for St. John's. Building. You take The building from Port basically came along as a fish tank. And we don't, again, budget for overtime basically for specific. So we have to come up with a way to recoup some of the costs, for things like that, and then it sort of evolved into the other events being billed for police services. And as I said, most of the agencies in Ozaukee County do that. We're important, it's about in the middle. So $60 an hour is just pretty much the top end of the
Minimum of 2 hours. So
Yeah,
that's enough information for me actually, because, yeah.
Yeah, it's good enough notice that you can find somebody to help. Again, we did not bill to celebrate for only for anything, so I'm thinking.
I think it only makes sense. that way.
It's a community thing.
Yeah.
Can you check reports, see if they have that on the fee schedule or anything?
No.
Anything?
I came up with that,
Oh, okay,
but that's, I have to tell you that that's not by ordinance. There's no board action, that's just what we do in the police department.
okay,
So when an event, when they come to us and say they want to do something, I tell them, here's what's in the cost.
Sounds like public safety.
well,
Yeah, there you
that's, that's your department and your budget, so,
Right.
okay,
And we bill them, they pay, I don't know where it goes, to be honest with you, that's not my department, but I take care of that.
okay, thank you. Any questions for the marshal? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. My name on
All righty. Report from fire chief.
So discuss a little bit on the EMS grant. The application was submitted at the end of June. We had public safety meeting on Tuesday, cleared unanimously there. So the recommendation from the county administrator was to give out the first year's portion, and then wait for the sustainability plan in May of 2023 to be presented. And then based on what information comes out of that, give out years 2 and 3, right, Josh?
Yep.
So the next step is approval of finance committee, which finance is scheduled to meet on July 28th. And then final planning board approval on August 17th. And then at that time, we $225,000, which is our first year one.
That was 245. Is it okay?
Yeah, 225.
Okay.
So, but
Can I ask you, you know, when there's money, it's allotted, it goes to the finance committee, and then you come back and you say, hey, personnel, view these people or whatever, you're hiring people, buying a vehicle. Who is, yeah, I mean, are you buying new vehicles or used vehicles or?
I'm not worried about people right now. I'm worried about people.
Understood, I'm not trying to be like that, I mean, just, we gotta watch the money, you know?
Well, and we have to report back to the county board. We have to show receipts of all our expenses for this month. And we have to be held accountable for it. So there's that piece there as well. So the salaries that are paid out, we kept track of. If there's any other purchases that are made, like equipment, training, things like that, all has to be accounted for and shown that we have used this money for that purpose because of the audits that come with the CARES Act money.
Understood. Do they just give you a checkbook, or do you, every purchase you gotta get approved, or how's that gonna work?
I don't know. I think it's gonna be a one-time payment. It is what I'm assuming it is, gonna be a one-time payment. Here's your $225,000. Now you're accounting for it at the end of the year to make sure that it's all done.
That is correct, Brian. Yep.
So this sort of sets the wheel rolling down the path now that we keep the ball rolling. Next thing I wanted to talk about was the memorandum of understanding. We need to have an agreement between the 4 municipalities here in the north that all met that night in Belgium and all agreed upon moving forward with this whole plan. So in your packet, I put together a draft of what I put together of memorandum of understanding, kind of laying out the timeline that we have until April of next year, April 2023, to put together a financial plan for sustainability, outlining our plan for the future, how we're going to move forward, how we're going to sustain it financially. All that has to be approved by this group, put together by this group, approved by each individual board of the municipality, 4 municipalities up here, so that it can be by the end of April, so it can be presented in May 2023 to the town board. So that's sustainability. So that is that MOU. If I read the grant correctly, that MOU has to be in place before we get a check physically from the county, that first check. So it's critical that we get that rolling here and have that all approved by the end of the month of August. Questions on that?
So is this something, Brian, just quickly on that? So this looked good. I read through the whole thing. Is this something then that we can go ahead and approve, or do you want to run this by?
No, you guys can go ahead and approve it tonight, and then I can take it and get it out to, the other, the village clerks, village and town clerks, so that they get it on their next agendas.
Okay.
For the meetings. I know that the town of Belgium comes up here, beginning of the month.
Yep.
They're pretty much the first week in August all the time.
Yep.
And I know I missed the July one for them, but wasn't a rush at that point in time, and how we started.
So I'll make a motion then to approve this memorandum of understanding.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions on that? I'll call the vote. I'll start with Josh.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Dan
Aye.
and Bruce.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried unanimously. Now, memorandum of understanding, okay. Licensing program,
Ambulance licensing progress, we did meet with our medical director, Dr. Zills from Aurora. He did a conference call with us, I believe it was on the 6th of July. We talked about the different levels of paramedic licensing that's out there for us. One requires us to do a feasibility study. He doesn't believe that we would meet that feasibility study and be successful at that piece of it. But there is also one out there for your rural areas, and that is called flexible staffing paramedic program. That's the one that we're going to go for. That'll allow us to build this program as we go. If we have one paramedic hired, we will be paramedic, and that means on staff that day. And until we get to that level where we have 3 people, we'll be able to be paramedic today, tomorrow we're not, next day we are. That's how we will go through that flexible staffing program. So we are working, Kyle's definitely working on that piece of it. And we are going to set up a conference call with the state EMS director to ask some questions and have him give us some input as well. For our area.
Did you check into any high school, any TNI programs?
Technologists, we will be talking to them, finding out what they have for graduating classes and people coming out. But at the county board level, or I shouldn't say at the public safety, at the county board's public safety meeting the other day, the question was brought up about building these programs from within. Talked about the EMTs that we currently have, hiring them, and with the stipulation that within a year or 16 months, they would become paramedics.
Does the state allow that? As far as training?
We would still function as our EMT, our advanced level license right now that we're currently running until we get them as paramedics, then we can step up. Because the main purpose of this program, keep in mind, is not just to get paramedic level services to us, it is to decrease our response time. So the main purpose is to get these people hired full time, so we can decrease it. And as soon as I got somebody staffed 24/7 down there, we're gonna decrease our time by 5 to 7 minutes on every call. Because nobody's gonna have to respond from home, right? We can take that person from out of that station, run them out in the vehicle, get to the call, get to the scene, and start administering care. Well, the ambulance still comes there. And they don't have to wait for any volunteers. So that's where we're at with paramedic licensing for the ambulance. So we're continuing to work on that. Next thing that I know that Melissa had asked Bill about having a personnel committee to start nailing down job description. Job description of the paramedic piece of it, pay scales, and then also after thinking about this, building this potentially having EMTs that we need to hire. We probably should look at the EMT job description as well that we have currently. And we need to tweak that and also maybe put some pay scales on that job as well. So that when we have to hire an EMT level person, we have that all set. We don't have to deal with that, do some dancing around with that. So we'll work on that and get that rolling as well. And at some point in time, we'll get probably by the end of August, potentially close to maybe.
the question that comes to my mind is the county thinking anything about having a consistent pay schedule for paramedics across the county so that we're not training them to go to Mac 1 and vice versa and whatever?
We have talked about that from Grafton North, about everybody being on the same page.
Mhm.
And that is sort of where I've taken my starting point from, was from the Grafton pay scale. Which Grafton is using in Saco is using Grafton's pay scale, or it's just adopted
Okay, thank you. Any questions about that part of it?
Then, from what I understand, Tom Wicker reached out to me about having another meeting that we had in Belgium at the end of August, so the week of August 22nd, trying to pull a meeting together and then maybe make I don't know if we want to make a formal group of the cross-section of all the municipalities to start focusing on getting some laid out of sustainability rather than it being kind of everybody coming as a one. So, yep. We'll have to figure that out.
Well, the more formal it is, the more it'll get accomplished, so. All right. Are you up to the purchase now?
Yes.
Okay,
So next thing I had on the agenda was approval and purchase of a Zoll auto pulse machine. This is a mechanic CPR. Price tag on it is $17,500. We did not budget for this at all. We did write for a grant for it, however. And I was going to come to you tonight and ask them for Rescue Act money for this, to pay for this. And if we would get the grant, we would pay it back. We use the grant instead. However, since this was put on the agenda, found out that the state has given us, will be giving us $24,000 of a one-time payment, I should say two-time payment of $12,000. So it's over $24,000 in the next year for Rescue Act stuff for the ambulance. And so that money is what I'd like to use for this. So the cost of this unit is $17,500. Over the course of the next 6 to 8 months, we'll have $24,000 given to us from the state. This device will increase the productivity of the CPR that we're given, the quality of the CPR that we're given, and it allows us to focus on other things that are going on. Intubating somebody, getting an IV start, all those things. Well, this machine is doing chest compression. There's videos out there of actually physically moving down steps and outside, and there's a living stairs. So he's hanging on the side of a cot trying to do CPR, which is ineffective by any means. This machine is doing it all.
You ever review some other departments on how well it works?
They are utilizing it in ERs. These ERs are, there are some ambulance services that have been using it as well.
well, with our trip distance from the hospital and whatever, it would be more important up here than it would be like in Grafton and Saco or something, so. So you, if I understand this correctly, you would like the village to front that money?
Well,
And,
we would utilize, we just got a check for $12,000 from the state.
oh, you got the first half.
$12,000. I would dig into the ambulance funds for the additional $5,500 until that next check comes back from the state and have that money set.
Okay. Then we don't have to touch the general fund then. All right,
Can we make a motion on that to get that done right away?
yep,
That's what it is.
approval of the purchase.
Yeah, I'll motion to pay for this CPR machine there.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second by Josh. Any questions? I'll start with Rick, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dan?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
Josh. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Anything else you want to bring before us?
I have nothing else. If there's anything else.
Could maybe mention that individual that's going up to Lakeland to study right now that for paramedic.
We do have an individual, I think I mentioned that before, so we do have an individual from the paramedic program. He's been chomping at the bit to get from these positions, but I can't hire. I can't hire you because you're not even in 2 years. He's got 2 years. He's one year into the program. He's been with the year. So this is plenty of time. See that. And I know that there's been some interest in other area departments like Belgium. Potentially having some of these jobs. You may not have paramedic or other speeds, but I think we'll have the staff.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Brian?
Brian, I just wanted to say thank you for being there for us, even when we do make smoke in the conference room from a popcorn machine. You guys got there really, really fast, which was awesome. So appreciate that.
Do you need a full-time job that you're here making popcorn in the middle of the day?
Burning popcorn.
No, I like my job very much, actually. So no, that's okay. Thank you. But why do you need volunteers or what?
No problem, you're good.
All right, thank you very much. We will move on to Director of Public Works.
Really, other than what's in my report, just an update on North Wilson. There seems to be good news with contractors. So it sounds like our concrete contractor is all lined up to come in. Call today. It's gonna be beaten in 2 to 3.
Unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
I mean, I got that all ready to go.
We're gonna have to work next contract to do tighten up
Some kind of,
penalties or give incentives or something.
or detention or something.
Don't you guys like get 3 bids and get references or something? I mean,
Public job.
some work.
I mean, the quality of work is fine, it's real good. It's, you know, sewer contractor wasn't in, when it wasn't supposed to, now it's kicking their ass down the line.
Yeah, nobody's gonna sit there for 2 weeks and wait for their job to come up. They're gonna start something else and fill that space, so.
So they're not doing the sidewalk or nothing? I know they got part of it dug up.
Yeah, basically, they're just trying to get as much prep.
Are they gonna go all the way to the corner or not? Because right now,
For the curb, that's what curb's gonna have. Sidewalk will go all the way down.
Right.
We didn't want to cut that over to the concrete piles because the steepness of the road.
he's talking like 2 more weeks.
Yeah, I really hope it's
Just for curb.
Yeah, that's just for the curb and the sidewalk.
Right, and then the next guy, then the pavers guy. He's this guy.
I know it's passed and stuff like that, but did everybody just bid the curb in sections or did they bid the whole curb? Or what, I gotta go back and look at those proposals because I don't think that road is going good at all.
Well, there's nothing, I mean, Roger, correct me if I'm wrong, here, we bid this job in 2020, it'd be done last year. We couldn't get them in there in time before
Yeah,
snowfall.
we're basically sitting over them the contract.
Right, because they couldn't get,
Just do this again.
right, couldn't get materials, couldn't find people, whatever the case was, it was same song and dance with the jam for the last 2 years. So then they were supposed to come in this year, they were supposed to be the first ones on our schedule, whatever happened, it's just been a snowball effect. Miller's doing a great job, I got no problem there, but I just don't know, it seems like keep getting held up.
Their problem is just as frustrated with design.
Right.
Because they are general.
So when you bid a job like that, you don't look at the subcontractors that they use for reference.
Actually do, but according to servers. Did the job the last 2 years. We only have paint and going that we did in the asphalt work, so.
Don't get me wrong, it's not you. I know what you're doing. So
Actually,
don't take it wrong.
I think all generals are used BMCI as a contract. So, but all these generals.
They haven't,
It's one of those things, we are really stocked, especially. Well, we'll get our old in the morning. 5 years. So you can get to, you can say, we didn't put a lot of it damage in the contract, we do it even in total 20. That's high. We want people to rather have more bidders than they can. So we can assess them. If they put all the this job.
Right. Right.
So, but we, we did that last year.
Yep.
Essentially. Well,
What are we looking at then for a deadline here for completion? I mean, are they gonna start moving equipment off the road then so people can get through there, or what's the next step, I guess?
yeah, I did a lot of that. Equipment will probably start to keep some sort of around.
Right.
Yeah, they shouldn't need that big hole anymore.
Is that-
They shouldn't need that big hole anymore. That they've got most of the big work done.
Yeah. That's sort of, don't store your, get a water truck and keep it us now.
So with that, the way they got it graded now, that's the way it's gonna stay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Well, they have to stake it yet first. They won't do that till they're ready to go.
Are we looking at August maybe being done, end of August?
Being
I don't
done?
want to say anything.
I know.
I would, I've been in pretty good close contact with being involved in it. That's in the job.
I just wanna know if we're gonna have a road for the snow flies, I guess is the big
Yeah,
thing.
I'm pretty comfortable it's gonna be that. I would still have money
How many phone calls are you getting upset?
The
individuals.
citizens have been, by and large, have been very patient. No complaints.
Okay.
Lock them off.
You should knock on wood.
Always, you know, also,
They're gonna really love it when it's
the big
done.
thing is now it's sort of, I mean, that this is where we are, this is what's
I
happening.
know it's not your view, but, contractors got a cash flow, so.
Well, I'm,
So that,
so some of that stuff, we were gonna catch payment going.
All right, so we have a pipe to look at. Color.
Yeah, other than that, it's in my report, I don't know if you're under. The PFAS, and PFAS, it's been a big contamination in the paper. That's one of our wells, and there's also, it's not detected. It's the process. The only thing is, state environmental hygiene, which did the testing, their detection levels are 1,000 times greater than EPA's new health advisory. Right now, their detection levels are about 2 parts per trillion. EPA's new health advisory is 2 parts per quadrant. So,
Really?
That's a lot of water to drink in one lifetime.
Roger, did you notice anything with the water pressure at all? It just seems like, at our house, that the water pressure is just so much different. Is there anything that you don't want this end or that pump?
I mean, tower levels and everything are all about the same. It's an elevation, so. it should be-
Just curious about that water thing that you were looking at on Fillmore at one time.
Oh, search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it.
These are really questions for a committee meeting.
Okay,
Okay, we have to look at a culvert that's slowly sinking into the west.
So actually, you need to turn that picture 90 degrees clockwise. Where you see all round busted, that's the line. So that'll be our next one first. But when that decides to finally give up, it's going to just collapse. I would say we got a lot of-
And John, you might remember Fillmore Street when that one collapsed on us. Oh. Okay, well, that's when Al was here. Yep. So this is something that we're gonna have to get on our 5-year street plan. Think about that during budget time when we look at the street plan, so. Any other questions on that? Do you have anything else, Roger? Any questions of Roger? Wastewater treatment plant is really singing the last few months. That's good. All right, we'll move to clerk treasurer.
Digging out from being at training last week.
Better you than me.
Yeah, it's catching up when you're gone out of the office is always a challenge, so. Have any questions?
Oh, I'd like to point out that the next Public Works Committee meeting is not the 25th. We're working on the 10th of August right now.
You haven't said it to me.
We haven't said it yet. Ben is available on the 10th of August after his vacation, so,
That's for Public Works.
yeah, for Public Works. Can you make a Wednesday? Is 10th, August 10th would be a Wednesday. Would that work for you?
What time?
If you can make 6, that would be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay, does that work?
Good for that.
Okay, we can solidify that later. Okay, any questions of the clerk?
I just want to add real quickly, she's got this on her report, but I am working through the WRS system and the state health insurance, and I should have an update and something for us all to look at by the next board meeting. So that should be good.
All right, good, thank you. We'll move on to District 2 Supervisor report.
So we had a public safety meeting on Tuesday. We passed this first year was the sustainability at $1,225,000 was approved unanimously. And my only concern right now that I have is that we currently have $5 million set apart, and when the budgets came in from the surrounding communities, that total came out to 5.8. So we're gonna have to figure that out as we go along. It's nothing to worry about right this second, but it's something to keep in mind. As far as some of the sustainability that they talked about, what they're looking at using is potentially using the levy limits to be able to be raised, to be able to pay for this for sustainability. That's something that's being looked into versus a referendum. So the finance committee is looking into that, and as soon as I hear more on where they're at with that, we'll proceed from there. But it's a good first step forward. Brian was there, the chief from Grafton, Saukville was there, the Port Washington was there. So it was nice to see that. And like I said, I think we're making the right step here. It's a huge step forward. So we'll just keep everyone up to date as we go along.
What about the funds that, I don't want to use the wrong term, the ARPA funds that came in, are we able to access any of that to offset some of that, like I had asked last meeting?
the ARPA money from, that the village received
Yes,
to offset it. Well, we haven't talked,
towards the EMS stuff, because they had said that we could use some of that money to fund that.
and I guess that's something we have to talk about. We've got that ARPA money, but we've never talked about what we want to use it on.
Bruce, are you talking for sustainability purposes?
Yes,
We have to spend the money before.
okay,
That
then why
time
can't we
frame.
bank the money from the grant?
Because that's what.
Is that the same thing?
It's-
Same
Yeah.
thing, what timeframe?
Same money. Mhm.
Yeah, it's,
You know, I would, it'd be my recommendation that we use that money for capital or
Yep.
one-time purpose.
Yep.
Something like that. I don't think we want to partially fund employees with that. You still got the sustainability issue in that themselves, okay, when this money comes up.
Mhm.
I was thinking that maybe instead of 3 years looking at it, maybe we stretch it to 4, like loosening it out, even if it's like 50 grand for a vehicle or something like that. That's what I was
It's a
thinking.
vehicle purchasing.
right,
Or road project,
right, which we looked
Or
at.
side.
or culvert.
A culvert
project.
replacement, right? So I guess just to clarify kind of what Brian was talking about too from the county, just so I guess everyone gets a better understanding how this is gonna work. So it's not really a blank check that they're handing over. You do have to keep track of it. What they don't want to have happen is they don't want to have the county oversee all this in terms of like, you have to do this, you have to do this. It's money that's given to each municipality to do how they see fit. And whoever they have decided to partner with or not partner with, Port Washington and Cedarburg were the only ones that didn't partner. They wanted to do their own thing. So basically what it is we're giving them a check and figure out how you want to use it, be accountable for it, because we've already planned out for this. That's what this grant is for. So it's not to incentivize, it's not, they don't want it to come across like they're making you consolidate. It's what's maybe would be advantageous for your community for sustainability. So just so that message gets out there, and I think that's very important that that's how it's construed.
Yeah, some of the supervisors really insistent on making sure this is a home rule
Yes,
type situation.
Which it-
They were really concerned about that.
right. Which it should be, because I would agree. I don't
Yeah.
think we want Mequon to terminate what's best for us. And so that's not fair. So I think we're going about it the right way. Obviously, things have got kinks and things are gonna change as we go, but I think the overall, what amazes me is how everyone's kind of coming together on this issue and seeing that it is a need. And they're working together to realize that these resources do need to be spread out on the north end of the county and the south end of the county and in between. So it's nice to see that, you know, a lot of supervisors don't agree on a lot of issues. For the most part, we do. And it's just nice to see that everyone's kind of coming together and realizing that this is necessary, it needs to be done, and it needs to get spread out appropriately.
All right. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I've got.
Okay. Yeah, I fear that we might run into a situation if we use grants from something to do this, we'll run into an either or situation. And that wouldn't be good either. Well, if you're gonna use that money, you don't need ours, you know, so we're not
Correct.
coming out ahead at all doing that.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much. Report on technology committee. Rick.
Right, so meeting had two purposes, one to review the movie equipment that we'll be using Saturday nights, hopefully, if the weather holds. Not looking good at the moment, but, so anyway, that all checked out good. No bugs or animals got in and chewed up the screen or anything, everything looked great. But the other big thing was to work on the updated website. And as you see on the agenda, we have a logo to approve. And you can see it on the screen right now. The only change is the Y in your, and find your moments here, that will be capitalized. Otherwise, the other graphics, we were pretty pleased with as a committee. So we wanted to submit it to the board for official approval of our new Village of Fredonia logo. Again, the final logo, and I don't remember, Dan, if you sent over an updated one already, but I could not find it.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually in the packet. If you scroll down a little bit, it's the next page.
So it's in your package as well. Good.
Yeah, and you notice that the one on the screen up there, the cutoff between the green and the yellow, that's, has to do something with the presentation on the TV. If you look in your packet, you'll see that it's blended all the way down and it fades from yellow to green. It's a much better presentation. That is how the logo is going to look actually.
Yeah, more of a gradient than a solid transition. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't show up as well up there, a resolution issue. But you get a general idea of what the logo is going to look like, and say it's in the packet. So, we would like to get the board's official approval for the new logo design.
With the capital Y.
With the capital Y, yeah, the one that's in your packet, not the one that I have. Very similar.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
There's actually a little bit down is the motion for it, so I don't know if you want to do it where you're at now.
We're
We're kind of there.
You're kind of there, but
do you have
there's,
anything to
I got
report?
one more thing to
Okay.
show. I guess this is kind of a late addition to our, but we have a preview of the site available. On the new website. So it's up on the screen there.
That's nice.
So that incorporates the logo up there. And again, this is a draft copy. This is not final by any means. And in fact, one of the things I was going to mention is that the original August 1st date that we were shooting for is in jeopardy just because of the rebranding efforts, the logo and everything else. So that pushed it back, and I think it was well worth it. I don't know if we have an updated target date yet, Dan?
I haven't spoken with David yet. He seems to be kind of pushing ahead on the artwork design. And then I think once we, if we've got any changes or any back and forth with that, I think then, we'll kind of have an updated time frame. But I know that in his email tonight to me, he just said, hey, here's a first mock-up draft. Have everybody look at it and kind of see what it looks like, and then go from there.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, there's a link in Dan's email too that you can get to the actual entire thing. You can scroll up and down and see the whole thing.
It's beautiful.
What we got so far, I think is pretty good.
This is looking good so far. So that's just to show you guys what mostly Dan has been working on. Dan's kind of leading this charge, so.
Alrighty, then we're ready for discussion items. Any questions on that? For Rick? Okay, we'll move on to items for discussion. Motion to approve new logo design with a capital Y.
Oh, one other thing I did want to mention before we get there. The question came up, do we want to buy the domain villageofredonia.com?
can we do .gov instead? I think there's a required, I read somewhere a while back, and I don't know what the requirement is. I have to research it, that we're going to be required to have a .gov at some point. To be honest, I don't know do you know the background of it?
Yeah. Great. Can you check on if that's available too, Dan?
I didn't hear what Sandy said, but I do know that villageoffredonia.com is available.
Yeah.
I do know that there's other municipalities that do have the, something like that, whether it be Village of Grafton, I think City of Mequon type thing too. I think it's just, it gets forwarded on, you can type in City of Mequon or villageofgrafton.com and it gets forwarded on to your .gov domain. So we're still gonna have to own, I believe, the .gov domain. This is just so it makes it easier for people. You can say, yeah, our website is villageofredonia.com, and they can go to that, which will be forwarded back on again to that .gov site.
All right, well, we'll let you check on that and see what you get as far as that goes.
Yeah, so we'll explore the .gov a bit more. Right now.
All right, the motion to approve the logo design. Anything else? Okay, we're there.
Mhm.
Don't like making a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the, I like the green picture. But look, you know, with water, stuff, but I'll make a motion to approve the logo.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other questions? I'll start the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries unanimously. Next, we have 2022 D banning acceptance of donations, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I put this in there in case we're comfortable to go forward with this. Oh, yeah, there is one down here, okay. Where are we? Down here. Okay. We don't have to approve this tonight. We have one more meeting before the election, if we want to have this in place by then. Or we can approve it tonight if the board so desires.
I look forward in the county to remove the words whereas.
Yep.
In the two paragraphs, because that doesn't make sense, really. To have them in there, right? Is that the reason it was removed?
No, the reason it was removed was so it could get passed without looking too political.
So the whole sentence got removed? Each of the sentences?
Both whereas
Oh.
got removed.
So the whole two sentences were removed, okay.
Yep.
I guess I could. We're trying to market the village to sell houses and bring businesses in here. I'm a little bit concerned about having the village look political one way or another. Would that turn off prospective people coming in? Like for the county, it makes sense because we've got all these other villages and cities to go to. But here, I don't know, I just feel a little uncomfortable about it.
Right, but they don't, the county doesn't. So like if Mequon wants to take a grant from, they certainly can. The county has no, with that, what they passed, it's just saying that the county was not going to. That doesn't mean like Mequon, Grafton, Cedarburg.
I was thinking of marketing. You can't just think, say, Ozaki County's all for or against this, but
Well, again, I'll wrap this up just like how I put it in Ozaki Press, the paper, when I was interviewed about it. It's about making sure that things are done correctly and that they're fair. That's all it comes down to. This isn't a political thing one way or another. Your voting rights are probably the most sacred thing that you have as an American citizen. And it should be taken seriously and it should be counted fairly. And when you get money from outside groups or forces, that's never a good thing. So all we're trying to say is that we're going to hold our elections the way that they're supposed to be, to the standard, so that everyone's vote counts the way that they intended it to be counted. That's all this is saying. This isn't a political thing one way or another. The whole thing is, I don't even know why we had to take it. I know why we had to take it at the county level, but this is a governor. This is what they vetoed. That's their actions. It's got, again, they look at that, oh, that's political. Well, that's what they did. This isn't supposed to be political. This is your right as an American citizen, and you should know that your vote counted the way that it intended to be. There shouldn't be any outside influence.
now I know sometimes what you meant to say isn't what I read the paper. And there's some concern that was attributed to you about the voting machines in the village,
Not in the village.
or, well, okay, Explain.
No, not in the village. I think that's something that needs to be looked into as well. I think, but that's not what this is. That's something completely different.
But it was in the same article. It's kind of threw me.
Right, I got asked a bunch of different things about the whole election process. A lot of what was in there, I don't even know why I got interviewed about it. They ran like 2 sentences of what I said. I was on the phone for 45 minutes, so, and exchanged eight different messages on Facebook, so. And then the main article was from the Wisconsin Institute of Law and Liberty, which was in this packet, which I forwarded on, which if you had a chance to read, I thought was very informative from the research that they did. But yeah, so they asked me what I felt about that, and I said, yeah, I think that's something that should be looked into. I think the problem is where everything's getting hung up again, it's so political. The whole process needs to be looked at. Again, regardless, I'm not saying anything about a particular political party or affiliation. Everything should be looked at to make sure that it functions the way that it is supposed to function, whether that's a machine, whether that's the way you sign in at the books, whether that's the way you put the ballots in the box. Everything should be looked at to make sure it is up to code and up to standard and that it functions the way that it is supposed to function. And there have been some things out there that say that that didn't happen. And I'm not trying to, again, we're not trying to argue, and I made that point clear. We can't go backwards. No one's arguing what happened in 2020. We just need to make sure moving forward that everything is up to par and is up to the standard that's set forth by the law.
Okay, I have got a question that kind of relates to this. We're talking about different cities got money. Was Fredonia
No,
approached? Oh, why not? And would we have accepted it? I don't
because
get it.
we're too red.
Correct.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
And we're not very big. We're not a very big community.
Okay,
Yeah, no.
well, that kind of,
I think what Josh said is just right and wrong. It's just about right and wrong.
Yeah.
Don't even think about politics.
Right.
well, I just want to, get this straight in my mind, what's going on.
I think it should be, I think regardless, like I said, before any election, everything should be reviewed to make sure that it is up to par and up to the standard that it should be. The state Supreme Court came out and said that the drop boxes are illegal, and now everyone's throwing a fit. They've never used them before, but now all of a sudden it disenfranchises voters. They've never been used except in one election. So that's the thing. It's all about, I don't care who wins. It's all about being fair. And this is just a way to say that we're not going to let money influence the way our elections are going to be held. And the only reason I put on there from the term of 2022 to 2024 is because a new board is going to come in probably in 2024, and you can't handcuff them if they don't want this or they decide we don't want to do that. That's just for this board for this term. We can't make it an indefinite thing because a new board will come along and then they might not like this. So like I said, I don't think I'm being
Well,
unreasonable.
Actually, there'll be another board in 2023,
Well, then there's another election in
but
2024.
the presidential will be in
24. Yep.
well, the current 2024.
Yes. Right, I agree with you, John. I don't know the article that was written. Don't get me started on that. That, like I said, I was on the phone for.
I'm
almost
sometimes surprised that I was at that meeting.
Right, I was on the phone for an hour, so that's.
Yeah, there's so much misinformation about this whole thing out there, including in Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty report, that people really don't understand what has been going on. They didn't understand that the election commission can't say, well, yeah, we can do drop boxes, or yeah, you can have a voting party in a park in Madison and this and that. All that was illegal. They didn't have the legal right to establish those rules, but they did anyhow.
Right. I think we're getting a little off topic from what this is, but I mean, that's a separate issue for another day, but going back to what's in front of us here. I mean, it's up to the board. I just think it's the right thing to do. And there, we shouldn't be accepting any grants from anybody.
This is one step towards getting to where we want to be.
So we can make a motion on resolution 22-6.
22, it's 22-D. That's what I sent from the county.
So is that a motion?
22-C.
No,
D is
22-D.
in David.
Resolution.
D.
22-D.
Apologies.
Yep.
Yes. motion.
Okay, I have a motion
I'll second it.
and I have a second. Are there any questions? I will call the vote, starting with John.
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
Right.
Aye. Vote passes unanimously. Do we have any correspondence? Any signed correspondence? We have none. Items for future consideration of village board. Okay, are we ready to go home?
I'll make a second.
Motion to adjourn second, all in favor?
Who made the motion? Rick?
Rick and Josh.
Yeah.
Bruce.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We gotta do a roll call or do we got?
Yeah. technically.
Aye.
Oh, we kind of did that in a stuttered fashion.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I think so. I know
Okay,
that passes.
Start with Dan.
all right, motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Yeah. My son